Okay, so this is gonna be the promised video about how I got Mexican citizenship and why it was such a freaking struggle. So, for me, it was more just like a lack of information and the ability to find said information. So, I tried to start this process since I was still working, which, if you know, it's been over a year now since I've been like a full-time employee anywhere. So, that it was a long time coming basically. So back then I was like, overwhelmed with work, and then I had started this YouTube channel and I had my book channel, so I was doing 2 videos a week on top of like already demanding job basically. And so that was all going on, and then so I thought, let me ask my family for help, knowing that they have no sense of urgency, which I guess, they're unemployed, they've been unemployed, they don't care, like it's not a thing for them. So I guess, you know what I mean, like I knew it was gonna take some time anyways, but like I also thought that if I asked my brother that he might know, because he had been looking into like where he wanted to get citizenship because he also wants to leave the US. So I thought maybe he would like at least know where to look for the information. He did not, it turned out. So there was a lot of back and forth of me being like, hey, did you find out anything? Did you find out anything? He'd be like, no. Like, or, he would just keep running into dead ends. Like, I don't know where the hell he was looking, but it was not coming up with anything. Like, we were just hitting walls after walls after walls. And, so that kept happening, and we just weren't finding out anything. So eventually, like, after a while of this back and forth of me checking in here and there and just nothing, I was like, okay, let me ask somebody else. So I asked one of my friends who, like, goes back and forth to Mexico a lot. So I was like, maybe he'll know, like, more about this stuff because, he's a little bit more in that world of stuff. So I was like, let me ask. And since he knows more about Mexico specifically than I do, so I asked him, and he was like, he didn't know either. but I think he knew where to ask, and then so he was like, just go to the consulate. And I was like, that makes too much sense. The obvious answer, like, contact the consulate, right? So we started doing all of that. And then we find out, like, we need my mom's information, but then my mom's like, what? I'm not a Mexican citizen anymore, because she did, like, I don't know. My family, for some reason, thought that if you got U.S. citizenship, then you were revoking your Mexican citizenship, and that's not how that works. So they're all still Mexican citizens, but my mom, like, didn't understand that and was, like, really confused. And so there was this whole process of, like, me Googling it and being like, just to prove that, like, because I was like, you're still a Mexican citizen, I promise you. Like, I had to convince her that, like, no, you're still a Mexican citizen. Because we were like, oh, we need her birth certificate or whatever. Like, she had to get her passport. And for this process, so for this process, I needed my dad's passport, which he already had because he's just a U.S. citizen. And then you have to have one parent that is a Mexican citizen. And so my mom is the Mexican one, so she had to get her paperwork from there. And so we were like, well, how are we gonna get your birth certificate? And it was this whole thing. I was like, if we have to go and get it, I'll go with you, and we'll figure it out. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody was like, no, we don't want to go over there, blah blah blah. I don't know. It was this whole thing. Which is crazy because I remember when I was younger, my mom made it sound like she wanted to go back to where she was born and, like, to see how it had changed and everything. But I guess that already left. Now that she's, like, done some other traveling, now she's too good for her hometown. I guess. I don't know. But anyways, so she did not want to go back. Basically, eventually, finally, they made a freaking appointment to get her paperwork over there, and they went to the consulate and got her passport, which, once you have the right paperwork, it's really easy to get the passport, actually. But yeah, because in the stuff they asked, like, for the CURP or whatever, it's like, you're right, I guess it's kind of like your, what's the equivalent? Kind of like your social security number, I guess, basically, but, like, the Mexican version. So anyways, like, we had to get her information. And so basically, after like, I swear it took almost like a year to even get to this point where finally I had to like be on the phone like convincing them like, please just do this, please, like asking over and over and over like, please do this stuff, like, and then being like, why can't you just do it, blah blah blah. I can't go and get your information like that. Like, I mean, maybe I could have, but then I would have needed additional paperwork to prove that I am her daughter, and it would have made it more complicated. I'm like, it's easier for you to just go and get your paperwork. Also, I was working, and I was like, I don't want to have to take PTO and then use money and then like get a flight and go over there just to handle this because y'all don't want to handle this. Like, it was a whole thing because they have all the paperwork there, but my family lives in Dallas, and I don't even live in the same state right now. Like, I was like, I would have to go and travel over there, and it would be the whole ordeal. And everybody was like, well, why can't you just do it? And blah, blah, blah. Like, I literally need your paperwork. Your paperwork. You have the paperwork at your home. My paperwork of my birth certificate and, like, all this stuff. My mom had it all in her room. I was like, you have all the paperwork because you need the originals. And like I needed their birth certificate. No, I needed, yeah. We had to find that so that way she could get her passport, and then we needed their marriage certificate, and then we needed like my dad's birth certificate, and then like it turned out that my birth certificate that I had was the short form, so then we had to get like the long form that showed that like, yes, my dad was a US citizen when I was born, and my mom it showed that she was born in Mexico, and like we had to show all of that. So that was another part. So once we finally start going down this path and my mom gets the passport and everything, so then we send them that, and then for me, for the Dallas consulate, you email them. So I email, ask you for the appointment, and is my paperwork right, blah blah blah, and then they like tell you, right, if you're missing something or if it's wrong or it's right. And this was the other special headache that I had. It took even longer, is because my birth certificate had my dad's name wrong, because my dad, despite already knowing at the time of my birth that he did not have a middle name, he likes to play around and likes to play stupid and likes to cause drama and trouble and blah blah blah. He's kind of a narcissist. He's a jerk. So anyways, he played stupid. Even after all these stories of like, well, when I joined the military, I had to redo all my paperwork because blah, 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 my birth certificate doesn't say that. Yes, your birth certificate shows that you do not have a middle name. You do not have a middle name. And to this day, he's still like, just to piss us off, he tries to be like, yes, I have a middle name and my dad has a middle name, blah, blah. I'm like, no, no, no. All of his paperwork shows that he does not have a middle name. His dad does not have a middle name. They don't have middle names, okay? My mom, 3 middle names. My dad, none, okay? My mom's making up for everybody. So, my mom's got plenty for everybody. So, oh my god. So, it was this whole thing where, my younger siblings, it was correct on theirs. But on me and my other sister, he played stupid. And I don't know what that process is, like, how they find out what your actual name is, or, like, how he told them or what. But he gave them incorrect information, I guess, at my birth, because my birth certificate was wrong. So I had to file for a correction, and that was kind of expensive because I did the expedite version because I was like, I'm so tired of waiting for this shit. Like, it's already taking me so long just to get to this point, right? So that was the last thing that I had to do, was I had to file. I was born in Texas, so I had to send my shit to Austin for the department. I mean, they told me, like, dude, they're so on top of it. I'm so glad. The consulate was so on top of it. They sent me, like, the direct link of where the information was, of, like, okay, you're gonna have to send it to the, like, the Texas, like, health department or whatever the hell, health department of public records or whatever the shit. It was, like, this whole name. And they sent me the link with the information and everything. Like, they were super, like, this is what you have to change. This is what's wrong. Da 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 da. Like, it was super specific. I mean, all in Spanish, obviously. But, yeah, it was, I was like, yeah, my dad's name is fucking wrong. So, I had to, fill out that application. And then, send, like, a money order and all this shit with my paperwork. So, I had to send that and get the correction, and then that took like a month, I think, even with the expedite. Like, I did it expedite because I was like, I don't have the patience for, like, I want this to be done so bad. So I did that, and then so by the time I got that paperwork back, and I put it into the email, like the whole packet with all the information and the application for citizenship and all of that. Once I had filled in all of that and finally had that scanned in and to send to them, it had already been like, I'd already been doing this process for so long, because when I started the process of trying to contact them, it was like, oh, it's gonna take like 4 or 5 months for an appointment. Like, they're super backed up. By this point, it was so fast. Like, I think they contacted me in like February and my appointment was for April. And I was like, oh shit, like I thought it wasn't gonna happen until like the summer and that it was gonna take like a lot longer. And no, we took so damn long to get my shit together that like there wasn't even that much of a wait anymore for the oh god, what's the word? Not double citizenship. I mean, that's how they write it, isn't it? Whatever. Anyways, for me to have the to get the citizenship. So, basically, so that was that, and then finally, and so they're like, confirm the appointment, and so literally my email back was just like, yes to the appointment, and that was it. And then finally I had the freaking appointment, and so then I had to, that's why I went to Dallas and finally had to go with my parents. And oh my god, the whole time my dad was coming with some bullshit still. So he was pretending at the appointment, your parents have to sign a bunch of shit, so I kind of see why they have to go with you now. Because, yeah, they had to be present for the appointment, which was the other pain in the ass. Like, my mom, not so much. Like, with her, it's just making sure that she's on time, because she's not good at being on time to shit. But with my dad, it's like, he likes to make everything as painful as possible. So with him, like, I had asked for a Wednesday appointment because that's when he's off from work. But then they gave me a Friday appointment, and then I was like, okay. And then we had to play this whole game of, like I had to unblock my dad and call him because he's blocked because I can't deal with his shit. I'm sick of it. So I had to unblock him and call him because he refused to tell my mom if he got the day off or not. He did. And then he always gets the days off that he asked for, so I don't know why anybody was playing. But he wouldn't tell my mom that he had the day off. So then I had to go. So I had to call him and be like, okay, did you get the appointment off? He's like, yes, daughter, I got the appointment, whatever. So then finally, I was like, okay. So then, they're like, oh, are you gonna fly there? You're gonna blah, 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 whatever. Like, so then I ended up driving out there for the appointment. And then the day of, he was still trying to play stupid. He was still trying to play stupid. So the day of the appointment, he's like, wait, they don't need me over there. I'm like, yes, they do. Yes, they do. So one of those times in that video where I, like, one of those clips was right after he was trying to say that stuff. And so I put the camera in his face and then he started acting right. So that's what I've learned to have to do with him, because otherwise he's going to play stupid. But in front of people, all of a sudden, he knows how to act. So, yeah, he was doing a lot of stupidity, and he tried to play, and I was like, no, you're going, we're all going, that's the whole reason that you took the day off, that's the whole reason I'm here, that's what we're doing. So my mom had to kind of corral him too. So we finally get there, and then and in typical form, we had to wait a little bit. And then we got into the room with the lady, and she starts asking us questions like, what do you want it for? And blah, blah, blah. We're like, oh, yes, travel. Da, 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 da. Okay, she goes to the paperwork. Okay, yes, we see. Okay, this is good, blah, blah, blah. And then my parents have to start signing shit. And this is where some of the problems came in. Because my dad was playing it fucking stupid. Like, I'm over here, like, trying to tell him, like, oh, she said you need to sign it the same as it is in your passport. Don't do anything fancy. Make sure you sign between the lines. Like, I'm over here kind of trying to translate, like, this is what she's saying to do. And then he wants to play stupid. He wanted to play so stupid. I'm over here like, don't do anything fancy, do it how it is in your passport, the same way he's been signing it my whole damn life. And then he decided to play stupid and waste our time and tried to sign wrong. And so then the lady too was also not having it. So she was like, she whited it out, and then she's like, you need to practice? You need to practice? And, like, she started treating him like he was stupid. Like, you want to play stupid? We'll treat you like you're stupid. And, yeah, when it came, like, that was for the first part where she whited out, and then he did it right finally, and then after that, you go back into the area, the waiting area, and you wait for them to process the papers, and that's what takes the longest. So they process everything. We come back in, and then he has to sign stuff. Except, so, um, we have to wait for a while. They process the paperwork, and then they give me more papers to sign, and then that's when I had to put the fingerprint, and I got roasted for not knowing what the words for fingerprint were. And my dad has to sign stuff, and this time she's like, "Oh, you need to practice your signature. You need to practice your signature." And yeah, so she made him practice a couple times, and then yeah, he stopped playing stupid. And then my papers were signed, and then she was like, "Congratulations, you're a Mexican citizen." And then that was it, and then we left. And then we went to the other line to do my passport because I was like, well, we have all the paperwork, but that part was really easy. So after you have, because I already had all the paperwork with me, like the one that shows I'm a citizen, all the other shit. So you just filled out a little slip. We went over there, and then they asked some more questions of like information because you couldn't read my writing that was on the paper. And then they had to take my pictures, and that part was kind of funny because it kind of turned into a DIY project actually, because they couldn't they were like trying to cover up my piercings. They were like, "Can you take them out?" And I was like, "No, I can't. Like they're still healing." And so it ended up being this whole thing of like we want to make it look skin tone for the picture for some reason. I'm like, I'm never not like I don't. Do they think I'm gonna take my piercings? I'm not. I don't know. So anyways, they wanted me to take the piercings that night. I was like, I can't. So then it turned into this whole DIY project of like my mom trying to stick band-aids over over the piercings so it would look more natural in the passport photo. Um yeah, so I mean, I think the photo looked a little janky, and they also, God, my haircut is the worst fucking haircut for this shit because they made me like push my bangs back, and then they were like, oh, and then these parts have to be like behind your ear, like they want to see your whole egghead. So yeah, I look horrendous in that photo, but I was just happy to be done. At that point, my brain was so fried, and I was so tired of like dealing with my family shit and everybody's shit. I was like, my brain is tired. I just want to go home. So, anyways, after that, they have different options too, of like how long you can have the passport for. So I went ahead and did the longest one, which is 10 years. So I paid for a 10-year passport, and so there you go. I have my passport for 10 years now for Mexico. And there you go. And that was the process. And then we went home, and my dad tried to have a conniption. Yeah. He got really mad. Like, I think maybe it was the next day. He got really mad because I was like, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. And he's like, you have to tell me your plans, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no. Like, he knew his leverage was gone over me. And he couldn't control me no more because there was nothing that I want from him after that. So he just, like, he started getting really pissed and acting really like a jerk. So yeah, he got really mad. I was like, if you're gonna stay at my house, then you have to tell me your plans. I'm like, no, I don't. It doesn't work like that. So I went to my friend's place until he left, and then he went back to work, and that was it. And yeah. So after that, it finally got more chill. But yeah, basically it was a special struggle because my dad is an asshole. So if your family's normal, you'll have a way less hard time dealing with this stuff than I did. Yeah. If you have normal parents, your process might be easier. We're gonna try to do this process for my aunt, except the difference is that her parents have both passed away. Like, my grandparents are not among the living anymore, so we're gonna see what we have to do in order to get hers. But as far as I know, you just need death certificates, but I don't know. If it ends up being more complicated than that, then she's like, worried we're gonna have to get an immigration lawyer for her. But both of her parents were Mexican citizens. All of her siblings are Mexican citizens. Like, she's one of the youngest ones, so I think like her and maybe one other of my uncles was born here in the U.S. But for the most part, everybody was born in Mexico. So she's just the odd one out because she was the baby. She's the baby. And so now I have to help her with that. And we're going to do it in El Paso. And I think that process is a little bit different because instead of just emailing them, you have to go through their site. So I have to help her make an account and stuff. But I think once we get past that, I have a feeling it's going to be similar, other than that part. of like, instead of just being regular email, it's like, okay, now you gotta do it through their site with your account. So I'm gonna help her set that up, and then we're gonna try to figure out for her. And then if it's different, I guess I'll let y'all know. But yeah, basically that was the process. I'm so glad it's over with. I was so stressed out. I was so stressed out to deal with all that shit. I have since blocked my dad again on my phone, so I never have to deal with him again. I hope I hope I never have to like coordinate with him for anything ever again, because this was a pain in my ass and I never want to do it again. So there's that, and hopefully I am done with all of that with dealing with him. So yeah, that was the process. Hopefully that was helpful, but for someone. But basically, yeah, there you go.